Hello and welcome. Treasure Chest Tuesday. Hi, I'm Susan Taylor Shire of Soul Mastery, helping you to access the mastery of living from your heart and soul, which is as easy as choosing life, choosing to thrive in any moment. And I've been thinking for a while about the idea of doing a Q&A. What if we use this time to answer your questions? I get questions all the time, and I know so many would reap the benefits of what the wisdom and support of my guides, the Akashic Field, the universe of you has to offer. So let's do that today. So the backstory is that last week I was doing a webinar to present the Spain retreat that I'm doing, or the retreat in Spain, called Exploring the Magnificence of Your Inner Universe. So exciting, the end of September. With my friend Nikki Graham, we're doing it together. She's from Imagination Spa. And someone had written in on the chat on the webinar asking a couple of questions about the Akashic Records, channeling, and I'll describe the questions in a moment. And I thought, those are great questions. And this is not the time for me to answer them during the webinar about fabulous Spain. But I do want to answer those questions because I get asked these kinds of questions so often. So here we go. I want to be as accurate as possible. How can you access the Akashic Records and know the information is yours and not others, and not take on the collective field? Great question. Great. So when I teach the Akashic Records, working with the Akashic Records, I call it the Akashic Record Field for sure. I'm doing a soul mastery training right now, and that's exactly what we're working with. And of course, I have a couple of courses on my website to learn to read the Akashic Records. So there's lots of those avenues. But right now, what I'm going to say is that you want to know the difference between the energy of the Akashic Record Field and the energy of what you're calling the collective. Now, I happen to know this person from having done a reading with them about their soul, and it is very expansive. It exists in many dimensions. Sometimes I call it parallel universes. And because of that, what happens is when you go to connect with something like the Akashic Record Field, this person, and this happens for a lot of people, it's confusing. What's the Akashic Record Field? What's my soul? Where's God? Where's love? Where's all the archangels? Where does it all fit in? Well, it doesn't sit in little pockets per se, but for your own use and edification, it does, and it can. So imagine if you were to take a journey or just feel yourself in an expanded space right now. If you're in that expanded space, you can feel something of the nature of being connected to everything, infinity, the largeness, the vastness, that sense of almost like creative void, or maybe it just feels big and blank and you're not sure what it's all about. But there's a large vastness that goes on forever. If you're connecting to what this person is calling the collective, you're really connecting to humanity. And that's when you get the two overlapping between your universal dimensions and calling that the collective. Because it really is not. Collective consciousness doesn't exist in a place that you can name it, because we are all very individuals. We're very much individuals within the field of the infinite. So what you're really connecting to is the infinite field. Now, to connect to the Akashic Record Field, what I want you to do right now is get a sense when I say Akashic Record Field, what comes up for you? Is it a visual? Is it a sensation? Is it a feeling like it's a vast library? Does it feel like it's a whole bunch of books in the sky? What comes up from your subconscious about that? And again, maybe it's nothing, but really there's going to be a feeling. Sorry, my seat is a little funny here that I'm sitting on, not my seat, but the seat I'm sitting on because of the pillow. Anyway, when you're in the Akashic field, it's very specific as it relates to the wisdom of all souls for all time. So what you want to do is create your own unique connection to that field. Maybe it has a symbol to it. Maybe it's a meadow. Maybe it's a night sky. Maybe it's a library. You create what that is for you and bring that into your heart and feel what that feels like. Sense that, have that symbol in your heart so that every time you're working with the Akashic Record field, you are, in fact, connecting to something that's very specific, very honed in, very real, within the vastness of the infinite nature of all things. When you do that, then you can start to connect with, and the next part of her question was, how do you connect with another being from that place, another soul? When you're in that place, you are going to be more likely have the capacity to connect to a person because you're connecting to their field that's connecting to that. Oh, I hope I'm not losing you. It's experiential. The key here is that when people open up to the Akashic Record field and just willy-nilly just go, I want to connect with the Akashic Records, you're usually connecting to an infinite collective pattern that is so vast you have no idea what you're connecting to. And it feels like you could be very unfocused and all over the place. Those of you who are very high-level souls, and often from parallel universes, have a tendency to connect to this largeness very naturally, which is beautiful because it is infinite oneness, creation, infinite possibilities. But when you want to connect to the soul of another, you don't want to connect to that vastness. You also have a tendency to try to get everything into the oneness, so you will pick up all sorts of energy from around you that is part of what this person is calling the collective. That's what you want to avoid doing, is just sort of opening yourself up willy-nilly and going, I want to connect with the soul of this person. I want to read my soul. I want to read what's going on for myself. You can't do it by just opening in this direction everywhere and just going, okay, soul, Akashic Record field, let me know something about this, because there's just too much going on. So to connect to the Akashic Record field, you want to create a specific pathway that you know is available to you, metaphor, symbol, feeling, creative imagination, sense of something. Bring it into your heart and ask your guides to give you the sense of what it means to be connected to the field. Feel that in your heart. And then when you ask a question about yourself or your person, another person, make sure you're in this vibration. Holding that symbol lets you know you're in that vibration. Holding it in your heart allows your heart to open up and be available, and you'll feel that it shifts when you're in the field. So it sounds a little complex. It's really easy once you start to practice it, but it's so important for you when you're accessing the Akashic Record field to know precisely that you are in that field and not just in willy-nilly, this big area of infinity that could give you all sorts of information, some of it correct, some of it may not be correct, because you're picking up on everyone else's energies. I hope that helps. I hope that opens a discussion for you with yourself and those around you. Feel free to ask me questions, but I do want to help you feel as though you have a place where your questions can be answered that relate to soul, wisdom, soul connection, a sense of how do I operate and navigate in life from a heart and soul perspective. So thrilled to be with you at this time, and I love answering your questions. And if you want to know more on my website about this little thing I mentioned called the Spain Retreat coming in September, feel free to check the link out and would love to see you there. So many Akashic Record blessings to you from my soul to yours.